Hi, everyone. Welcome to a review of the Tanjchim soda, which is a hybrid $300 IEM. And at the time it was released, it was the most expensive IEM in Tanjim's lineup and technical focus listing. It is exciting. Let's just say that. And, stay tuned till the end of this discussion and review so you get to hear my views on how this fares in comparison to other Tanjim IEMs. Okay, this review is going to be broken down into a discussion on specs, frequent response and tuning, and I'll talk about in greater depth about its bass performance, mid-range, and treble, technical performance, and of course, I'll finish by discussing a little bit about how it compares with others and who this is for. So, in terms of the driver configuration, the Soda has one dynamic driver and four ballast armatures. Is it got an impedance of 16 ohms, which of course is low, and but I don't perceive any hiss or noise when I drive it with uh, uh, you know a variety of sources, including my DAPs, which tend to be slightly more powerful, of course, than dongles. The sensitivity is 120 decibels, which again is in a decent territory of sensitivity. The shell is, of course, made of a see-through resin, and it's got these little metal faceplates, right? And it's a nice, very ergonomic design. I have no issues with inserting them in my ears and having them on. The nozzle shape is also very ergonomic, and there are no issues whatsoever with compatibility with a variety of tips, and I dare say perhaps a variety of ears. Soda is tuned with to have a strong sub bass, so that's just worth saying off the bat. It's a strong sub bassy affair. It's got a stronger sub bass than the Fola, for instance, which a lot of people have known about. It does have slightly recessed upper lower mids, right? So what that means is that sub bass stands out and can sound a bit dry in the bass, but it is what it is. It has energetic upper mids and treble, so that gives it sort of an audiophile technical tuning. Because once you scoop out the upper bass and lower mids, you just get information and a perception of resolution. Because a lot of the music is, of course, contained within the upper mids and lower treble. And treble boosts and upper mid boosts give you a perception of resolution. Now, I will talk a little bit more about the bass performance and mid range and treble, and then, of course, technical performance. In terms of the bass, just to dive deeper into the bass, sub bass has a lot more physical impact than soda, like you said, and then Fola, like you said, right? Uh, um, I do feel that it is punchy as well, right? And I do feel that it's great, but just having a little bit of scoop in mid bass, I feel like it adds an element of dryness to the bass. It doesn't sound as complete and as rotund as one might expect. And it might even sound a bit detached from the mid range, and this could be because of the hybrid crossover behavior from the driver structure. But overall, I feel like although the bass is enjoyable, it's not as coherent as single dynamic driver designs. The Fola, for example, I feel like is a lot more enjoyable for me in the bass. The single dynamic driver design does give it a certain coherence, which is very, very attractive. That being said, this bass performance is ideal for certain genres. So what genres are these, you might ask? EDM, modern pop, sound phenomenal with the Soda bass tuning. That's worth keeping in mind. Mid range, like I said, the lower mids are a bit recessed, which means vocals are very, very clear. And then they come at you with a lot of clarity, but they have a thinner body. So imagine hyphen upper mids, right? So it's not bad. It's just different mid presentation. The clarity and articulation of vocal tracks is just second to none, and you think you're getting a lot more resolution than what you pay for. This purely for mid range and upper mid resolution because of how it's tuned does sometimes sound like a flagship IM. So that's just a wow factor off the bat, which is worth just knowing about. However, for some, it might sound too analytical and lean, and this comes through on tracks that are not well recorded. Treble. Um, Treble is interesting, right? Because treble is in many ways more energetic and extended than I think the Fola presents. And I'm making this comparison because I've reviewed Fola on this channel before. So do check that review out. So what that means in real life, or let's say for real instruments, is that cymbals, strings, and overtones have more sparkle and energy, which improves the perception of resolution, like I said, but it has a fatigue risk. So I do want to say that tips will matter a lot with the soda, and you want to experiment with tips and how they fit you, because you might want to rein in the treble. Of course, there's EQ, and if you EQ, this can become quite magical. Technical performance wise, the stage is wider than full up because of the enhanced treble presence, and of course, there's more drivers that play and all that, right? Imaging is more precise than I think I've ever heard on a Tanjchim IEM, and most I'm this price class imaging is just masterclass. Separation, wow. Resolution is wow. So technically, this is a championship winning IEM worth mentioning. So just very quick comparisons within the brand, within the house of Tanjim versus Soda. Like I said, Soda is more resolving, brighter, better separated, but less coherent. Comparing with Kara, I want to say Soda leans more analytical and less warm. And comparing with the origin is something that I think a lot of people have heard. Soda feels much less organic, but more technical. So all that being said, guys, who is this for? This is for someone who's honestly craving top tier technical performance. This is for someone who is on a perhaps a budget and doesn't want to dish out $500 or $1,000 to get like the bang for the buck IM, or rather the flagship IM. This is for someone who wants that sort of superlative flagship performance at a far affordable price point of $300, which it does deliver. The resin shells are very nice. It's see through and all that, right? And you can see all the drivers. It's a very nice sort of release from Tanjim. So big shout out to Tanjim. This is impressive. I do think though this will require a lot of tip matching and rolling for a lot of you and EQ. But if you're ready to put in that labor, this is going to reward you because it is a phenomenally technical iron for the price. That's it for me. Sajid Amit signing out, and stay tuned for the next one. Bye bye.